Hey guys, it's JQ, and in this video I'm going to be discussing an important last layer solving idea known as AUF. Now AUF stands for Adjust U Face, and it's quite simple actually. It's just as the name suggests. All you're doing is adjusting or turning this up layer or up face. So don't let the name intimidate you. But there is a little bit more to it than that, so let's take a look at a few examples. Alright, here we are. Now, it looks like here we've already done the F2L, and we are now on OLL, and this is known as the soon OLL. This is actually so common that it actually has a name. Another common name for it is the fish OLL, but that's beside the point. Let's go ahead and do our algorithm for this OLL. And now we've reached PLL. This is where AUF comes in. So you might recognize this as being the UB permutation. But things aren't quite oriented correctly right now. We can't just do the algorithm. It won't solve this last layer. So what you might do is do a U2 to go ahead and orient all the corners so that they're all correct. And you might also know that you have to put this bar, this fully solved bar, in the back, away from you. And then, and only then, can you do the algorithm. And there we go. However, notice what we did there. We actually had to do a U2 and then a rotation, which is quite inefficient. And if you've seen some of my other tutorials or example solves, you know that rotations generally want to be avoided because they're inefficient and they take up much more time than just doing a simple turn. So how can we fix this? Well, this is where AUF comes in. Instead of having to perfectly arrange everything and then rotating to get the desired position you want and then doing the algorithm, all I can do from this position is just do a U. And then what that does is that puts the solved bar away from me. And from here, even though not everything is aligned up, not all the corners are aligned, and this is perfectly fine to do, from here I can do the algorithm. And then adjust the U face after the fact. So let's break that down one more time. So instead of doing a U move and then rotating, I just did a U move, solved the algorithm without any rotations, and then afterwards adjusted the U face. This is AUF. Here's another example, but with a J permutation. Now for the J permutation, this specific one, which is the JB permutation, how you have to orient this top layer so that when you do the algorithm, the last layer is completely solved. You have to get this block to be perfectly matched up, this corner and this edge piece. And then, and of course you have to put the solved block on the left. And from here, if this is all matched up, then you can do the algorithm. But what if it's not completely matched up, which will often happen after you finish your OLL? It's rare that this will be completely matched up, right? Once you put the completely solved block for this specific permutation on the left side, it's rare this will be completely matched up, like so. So instead of doing a U2 and then rotating just from this position, we go ahead and do the algorithm. But then afterwards, all we have to do is a U2. And this is much more efficient again than doing a rotation combined with some U moves. Here's one more example, but with the T permutation. Now currently I have the T permutation in its correct orientation. From this position, if we do the algorithm, the Rubik's Cube is perfectly solved. But what are the chances that after you finish your OLL, it's in this perfect orientation? Well, chances aren't that high. It's likely after you do your OLL, you might see something like this. And from here, you really don't want to do a U2 and then a rotation. By this stage, an AUF is a pretty advanced idea. I would recommend starting to implement this if you're averaging around 30 seconds or lower. At this stage, we want to try and cut down as many unnecessary rotations or moves as possible to optimize our solving efficiency. So again, let's say we see something like this. then instead of doing a U2 and rotation, all we have to do is a U. And then we do the algorithm and then do adjust U face, which is much more efficient. Now, to go an extra step deeper into AUF, now this is for my really advanced solvers out there, what you can do is go ahead and predict what your AUF move will be before or while doing your PLL. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, after doing hundreds of solves with the T-perm, as we have here, you're going to recognize that what happens when you do the T-perm is that this block right here becomes complete when you do the algorithm. Now let me demonstrate. So as you can see, this was originally just a red block, but this corner ends up becoming a red corner piece as everything else becomes solved. And another interesting thing, with the T permutation, we have blue headlights or matching corners. And when you do it, you begin to recognize that, hey, that side becomes the fully solved blue side. So what you can go ahead and recognize is that knowing that this will be the solved red side, this will be the solved blue side, and the orange and green respectively, then you can go ahead and think to yourself, okay, so let me imagine that the cube is already solved. I've done the algorithm. This is all red. This is all blue. Then I'm going to have to do a U to get all of these red pieces over here. So I can go ahead and predict that after I do the algorithm, I'm going to have to do a U as my AUF. And let's take a look at one more example. Here, again, I have the headlights here and this block here. So I know that this is going to become green and this is going to become red. And if this is green, well, green and blue are opposite each other. And that means the green side is over here. So I'm going to have to do, imagining this is all green, a U2 once everything is done to get all the green back there. And let's try that. So we do the algorithm and then we do a U2 as the adjust U face. But I already predicted that. So instead of doing something like, okay, let me do the algorithm and then, okay, adjust U face. What I can do is go ahead and be like, okay, this is green and that's gonna have to go back here. So do the adjust U face as almost part of the algorithm. Now, if you're completely confused about this whole predicting your AUF thing and whatever the heck I was just talking about, then that's completely fine. For now, just focus on implementing this technique into your last layer solutions, and I promise they'll become much more efficient. So, let's summarize. In this video, we discussed AUF, a fairly advanced technique for maximizing efficiency in your last layer, but a technique that I think is useful for really any cuber of any skill level. But I really do believe that this is an important technique for any cuber on their journey to becoming a more faster and efficient solver. So I hope that this video helped you learn something new and will help you improve your solving times. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, then please feel free to comment them down below. That's all I got for today, and I'll see you guys next time.